All right, in this video we're back onto the Rx8. I've ordered some parts. They should be coming this week, so I should be able to tick some items off the list finally. Yeah, so we'll get stuck into that now. I've also got to do some modifications to the radiator and just test some wiring, but we'll get amongst it now. So first things first, I'll jack this up, get this front bumper off. I need to pull the radiator because this here is actually points the water line straight into the pump and actually puts pressure on it. Originally, I was going to buy a new AN fitting, but stuff that, I'll just cut a wedge out of there and just kick it up ever so slightly. And then once that's out, I can see how I'm going to mount the oil cooler. And I've also brought oil cooler line kits, so hopefully I'll get those all plumbed up. I was originally going to run that there, which is a factory cooler, but instead I've gone old school Rx8 type 1, which will just sit in front of the radiator behind the intercooler. So I'll get that sorted and we'll go from there. Radiator's out. I'm just going to cut probably 3/4 the way through here. Probably put a decent sized wedge in there and just kick this up this way and just re-weld it, and that should clear that line that I had issues with. And then I'm going to keep this out of the car until we get the oil cooler mounted in, which by the looks of it, there's not a great deal of room for that. I'm going to have to figure that one out. But I also have electric fans coming for this, so it will stay out until that's all done. I'll probably, oh man, it's so dirty. I'll put the fans on the front of this and it should look all right. So all done now. So that little weld job there just saved me $75. That's how much these AN fittings are. They're flipping expensive. Very, very cool, but very, very expensive. So hopefully I've put that on enough angle to clear. I don't really want to have to pull it out again and re-weld it, but I think she'll be all right. This does need a thorough clean, this radiator. So now I'm just going to, what the hell is that? Oh. I'm just going to jump into the Rx8 hook, take the battery out of the trike and put it in the back of this and just test my starter motor, test a few electrical things, and I think that might be my day. It's been a couple of days and my oil cooler's arrived, so I'm pretty stoked about that. But then I also got one of these. So the oil lines for this I need to pick up from the post office tomorrow. That sucks, but I'm going to try and mount this now. I've come up with probably a silly idea on a way to do it, but without getting too complicated, I'm just going to mount this straight to the intercooler, have a mounting bracket off that, and it'll just hang there with the intercooler on the back side of it. Yeah. That's about all I can do for now until I get it all back together, and if it doesn't work I can always change it, so it's not too much of a major. So I'll get into this now. This is my plan here. So it's just, there's a little bit of a gap there, but I'm just going to cut 2 bits of aluminium angle and just weld them to the side of this just to pick up these bolt holes on that side and that side. So I've already gone ahead and marked it out here. So just drill these holes, cut there, and just weld those tabs to that. That will hold it in place. Originally I was thinking of using these bottom lugs here, but they'll be all right. And once again, you know, this intercooler isn't the best, and if I ever do change it, it's just a case of cut these off, weld them onto the next one. I have to do that with that pipe anyway, because that's welded straight to the end tank. And you can slightly see I start spraying that red. So going red intercooler pipes. So I will do this, get these prepped now, blaze those on, reinstall it, and see how it looks. This is what I'm looking at here. Cut the brackets, so I'm just going to weld along here and maybe up here. Got them all bolted in there, and it's spaced off a little bit. Not a great deal, but both sides are done. So I'll go through and weld these now. I'll probably throw you on time lapse again, paint that pipe, and then reinstall it back into the car. And then we wait for tomorrow for the oil cooler lines. We'll plumb those in, and that will be that off the list. Now after that, I have to get my oil lines, the oil feed line for the turbo and the oil return back to the sump. I don't know if it's going to make it into this video. I'd like it to be, so that I can actually put oil into this engine. But yeah, it's just, yeah, one of those things. I forgot to mention, if you're chasing any of these bolts and stuff like that, go check out Alien Speed Parts. I actually get quite a lot of these off him. Just leave them lying around. They come in handy for stuff like this, and just adds a little bit of pull factor, I guess. There it is. She's nice and solid. It ain't going anywhere. Finished painting this pipe all red, so I'm going to go install this back into the car, and we might be able to see where I can run my oil lines. I believe the kit that I've got coming from Franklin's has two 45s and two 90-degree AN fittings, so maybe I'll put the 90s here. We can run it around the radiator like so. We'll figure that one out, but for now I'll go put this back in. Pretty happy with that. She's mounted down in there. It should clear the radiator. The radiator mounts onto there, so there should be enough room for it. I think it sits down at an angle like that. So yeah, as I said, I'm fairly happy with that. She's nice and solid in there. So tomorrow I will run the lines from there. I think I've got one goes in down there and one at the back here. So once that's done, that's the oil cooler sorted, and then, as I said, I need to get the turbo back on, do the oil feed, oil return, then I can put some oil in this, and then I need to sort out the water. I need to put water in this thing as well, make sure everything is holding, and then it's just a case of tidying up a few loose ends. If anyone knows of anyone who has an FC alternator, can you let me know? As I said on a previous video, the Rx8 one won't work, so I'm looking for an FC one. And I did test my starter motor on this. It won't work either. It's not turning over, so I'm going to run the wire to a switch, and that should just turn the starter motor with battery power, so that should be all right. But yeah, pretty happy with that. I don't know how well the air's going to go through the intercooler, but it's better than nothing, I guess. But if it does fail, I can always cut this off and go about it another way. But I'll leave this video for tonight and get back into it tomorrow. Shit, those are different reads. Oh well, I don't really care. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Well, this seemed like a complete waste of time, but got it now, so I'll get into these tonight. Oh sweet, we're back into it now. I did have to go to Speed Factor and get a few more. Where are they? Get some of these because they didn't arrive with my oil cooler, and I didn't really read the description good enough on this, and I thought I had 4 of these, but they only sent me 2 for the block only, so that's all good. So I picked those up, so I've got everything I need to make these lines, including 4 meters of this. So that's more than enough. And also there's another package on my front door. Finally got the temp sensor for this water pump bracket, which goes into there. So I could, in theory, put the radiator back in and plumb all this back up, and I'll be able to put at least water into the car, which is still a step forward. So I'm going to dig through this now anyway and start measuring up and making some lines. I absolutely love ordering parts through Franklin's. Awesome quality stuff and pretty fair price too, to be honest. And I'm pretty sure this was free delivery, even though I had to go to the post office and pick it up. But yeah, everything I need's here. So as I was saying last night, I've got two 90s and two of these. So I'm probably going to, as I said, run these off the oil cooler and run these ones off the engine and see how it all lines up. So got those ones in there, sweet as, and I've got that fitting in right there. So I'll start making the lines. But something I didn't know, on engines like this, you have two different size bolts. I think this one is a M16 and the banjo bolt in the back is an M18. So that kit that I got runs M16, M18. These are both M18s. So I'm down a fitting, which I can't get now. It's too late in the day. Have to get it tomorrow. But I'll still be able to make the lines. It's just not going to be finished, which sucks. But now you know, if you're ever doing this in the engine, they're both M18s by 1.5 Fred, I think. Right, got one line made up. That goes to the bottom line of that cooler, and it's going to run back to there. So hopefully I've made it long enough and everything's going to work out all right. We'll soon see. Lines are all done. I didn't really worry too much about filming. It's pretty boring. So I've got the back one all hooked up down there, and the front one, well, it would be in there. I just need that fitting to go into the front there, and then that will do that all right. And I've got them running well enough out of the way, so the radiator should sit back in there fine. So moving on now, I'm going to put the radiator in. I wasn't going to because of fans, but because I have the temperature sense now, I can physically close off my whole water system and I can actually put water in the radiator. So I'm leaning towards that right now, but we'll have a look anyway. Well, this is what I'm looking at. Radiator's bolted back in. Oil lines running around, sweet as. Underneath, we got plenty of room down here, so I will still mount the fans here. I've got mounting tabs here. I don't know if I make a shroud or I make just a skeleton frame to hold them. But yeah, I think we fill this full of water. I've just got to go ahead and plumb all these lines back up to the water pump. I've got all this nice and secure back in there now. And yeah, fill it full of water and see what happens. So I got all the cooling system hooked up. They're all fairly tight, I hope. Got a little line down here as well to run into there. So I'm going to go fill this now and watch for any water leaking anywhere. Hopefully it's mint. I can't think of any other reason. I mean, the engine has a water drain down the bottom there. That's tight, and I'm pretty sure the bung on this is tight anyway. Well, I'm going to start filling this up just with plain water and see if anything comes out of it. So a bit of a mission, filling this up, I realized I'd actually have no way for air to get out. So I undid this line, held that up. Once water started coming out of here, I tightened that back up, pulled this one off and started filling it back through that way until water was coming out of the pump here. So that's why I've got some water down on the ground there, but by the looks of it, everything's all right. I dare say there's going to be a massive airlock in there, but hopefully when I get it running, it will work its way out and back out through the cap. But by the looks of that, yeah, I might just fill this up a little bit more, and hopefully water will just work its way through. But so far, so good. All right, we've got a water leak. If you look in there, that's the O-ring that's supposed to be sitting in here. Yeah. So I'm going to undo this. Water's going to go everywhere, and I'll get that O-ring back in if it's not too damaged. What a dick. Well, I fixed the Franklin brackets. I fixed that O-ring behind there. It stopped there, but just a slow drip around here somewhere. That's on the side of that new tank I made, but it's really slow. It just drops like once every probably 40 seconds. There'll be a drop, and I was just doing my head and trying to find it, and I'm pretty sure it's around here, just on this well. So that's a real pain in the ass. But besides that, everything else is holding. As I said, I'm pretty sure there's a massive airlock in there. Yeah, what a pain in the ass. But for now, that will do. I'm going to leave it for tonight. Tomorrow, I'm going to get that oil line sorted, and then probably call this video a wrap. So there we are. Got the new fitting in there today. So oil cooler and oil lines to the engine are all done. So in the next video, I'm actually going to get this manifold finished. I'm going to get the turbo mounted once and for all. I've actually got the front compressor housing being polished at the moment, but once I get that back, I'll get the oil feed line done, and in the bottom in the sump I do have the oil return line, so I'll get those lines sorted, and that will square that away, and then I can put oil in this engine, which will be good. The water seems to still have water in there. Still a puddle underneath the car, but that might have been from last night. I'll dry that out and check that. But yeah, moving forward on the next video, I'm going to try and finish assembling everything, and then it's brakes, coils, stuff like that. The real tricky stuff, and obviously the ECU. And then I'm pretty sure we're pretty close to fire up once I sort the ECU. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching.